I've already found an abandoned bike. There's a packet for a knife.
Whoa, the hell was that?
So a bunch of guys just pulled up and shot my truck with me in it.
James is a full-time traveler who lives in a van, following wherever his adventurous spirit takes him. His journeys often lead him to unusual campsites, abandoned structures, and a wide variety of remote locations. But on this trip, he encountered something completely unexpected, an event made even more unsettling by its randomness. He had planned to film a video about a night of camping along a row of abandoned houses in New Mexico. But once night fell, things quickly took a turn. After exploring the area, he returned to his van intending to spend the night and rest, unaware of what was about to happen.
So this is where I will be sleeping tonight. I actually just parked my truck right outside of here. I was going to see if I could open this garage door and sleep inside the bays, but I can't actually get it open. So I'm out here just kind of chilling.
I'll just be chilling in my truck for the night. I'm definitely running out of storage space, so I need to wrap this video up actually if I'm going to get the whole thing out. So tomorrow I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to end up heading home. So I'm crashing out here. I'll end up heading home, and I have to wrap the video here, guys, just because I don't have the space to keep making a longer video. This one turned out, I was editing right now, and it turned out super long.
But the night turned out to be far from peaceful. In the middle of the night, James was shocked to discover that people had approached his van and started shooting at it while he was still inside, completely unaware of the sudden and terrifying attack.
So a bunch of guys just pulled up and shot my truck with me in it. I was literally sleeping in the back, and they shot it up right there. Yeah, so that was pretty crazy because these guys pulled up, and you know, I don't know. I think hopefully it was just a bunch of kids or whatever, but you know, even hopefully. But so I'm in the truck, and you know, these guys pulled up, and I heard them pull up, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm at this building because I was staying at that abandoned place. And I'm at this building, and man, it was crazy. They just started shooting at my truck, and I'm in it. So I ducked down. I was like, oh my God. Like, I ducked down. I was like, okay, well, you know, they're shooting at the glass, whatever. And then I heard them take off, and I just got out and, you know, basically got in the front, checked it out, got in the front, and drove off because I'm not going to stay there tonight. Obviously, not after that. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I'm going to go down the road or what. I'm pretty far from home. I don't want to have to drive all the way home tonight. But that was pretty crazy. Watch, I'll show you. I mean, I haven't found any rounds yet. They're small. It's a 22 probably, right? Or something. But I haven't seen any rounds in here or anything. My truck's a mess. But yeah, so aside from needing a new window.
In the end, after a bit of investigation, it was discovered that the shots had come from a BB gun. While less lethal than real firearms, BB guns can still be dangerous, and some high-powered air rifles, often used for hunting, can be deadly. The situation is still extremely unsettling. Some people saw a van parked near an abandoned location and decided to shoot at it, putting anyone inside at serious risk. This incident highlights why it's essential to exercise caution when choosing remote or abandoned places to camp. Such locations may be linked to illegal activities or attract people who pose a threat. The lesson is clear. Always stay alert, know your surroundings, and never assume a place is safe just because it appears abandoned. Fortunately, James emerged from the experience unharmed, which is a huge relief. Given the unpredictability of the situation, it could easily have ended much worse. In Japan, there is a mountain of breathtaking beauty called Mount Fuji, an active volcano that hasn't erupted in over 300 years. At its base lies a dense forest, known to locals as the Sea of Trees, more commonly called Aokigahara Forest. What makes this forest so unique is that it grew over a 30 square kilometer area of solidified lava left behind by Mount Fuji's last eruption. However, beneath its natural beauty hides a darker reality. Aokigahara has gained a grim reputation as a place where many people go to end their lives. For hikers and explorers, unfortunately, it's not uncommon to come across a body if they spend enough time on its trails. In July 2017, the YouTuber Burbex set out to explore Aokigahara and filmed his entire adventure. At first, everything seemed like a typical, uneventful exploration, but as he ventured deeper, he came across something that immediately caught his attention: an abandoned bicycle, a silent signal that this forest held far more unsettling stories than he had anticipated.
I'm only a few meters away from the road right now, but I've already found an abandoned bike. It's actually a pretty nice bike. Let's take a look at it. I don't think it's been here a long time. What do we got in here? And there's a packet for a knife. Maybe somebody's going out into the woods to slash their wrists. I think I've just found some kind of note in a bag. It says 1211. I can't quite make out. I think this is somebody's name just here, and I'm not sure what this means. Maybe I should take that to the forester station later.
On top of the abandoned bicycle, Burbex discovered an empty package for a kitchen knife. Shortly after, he found what appeared to be a note sealed inside a plastic bag. Once translated, it read, 1211 verified, Fuji Yoshida Police Station verified, suggesting it had likely been left by someone who had abandoned their belongings before taking their own life, a fact confirmed by local authorities. The realization is deeply unsettling. A simple hike can lead you to stumble upon objects that once belonged to someone so desperate they felt they had no way out. Over the years, the Japanese government has implemented several measures to try to prevent these tragedies. Signs with messages encouraging people to reconsider their actions, security cameras at forest entrances to monitor visitors, and trained volunteers to talk with those who might be contemplating suicide. Despite these efforts, people still succumb to the darkness, and the forest remains a sobering symbol of human suffering. This is why it is so important to pay attention to those around us. People struggling with thoughts like these often appear happy or well on the outside, but a simple conversation, a gesture of care, or letting them know someone is listening can make an enormous difference, sometimes even the difference between life and death. Unfortunately, media coverage over the years has sensationalized Aokigahara, which has only complicated matters. It serves as a stark reminder of how essential compassion, awareness, and understanding are when confronting the hidden struggles that so many endure in silence. This video comes from a YouTuber known as Wild Pursuit, a creator whose channel usually focuses on hunting-related content. However, this particular video takes a different direction, and it's worth noting from the start that no animals were harmed in what you're about to see. It was the morning of the opening day of bow hunting season, a day he didn't intend to miss. He got up early, prepared his gear, and headed into the forest. But along the way, even before reaching his destination, he encountered something unexpected, something he interpreted as a sign.
I got off work this morning at 2:30 or 2 o'clock, got home, showered and everything, in bed by 3:30, and I was just gonna stay awake, but I fell asleep. Oh, and there's two deer crossing the road right now. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Oh, there goes another doe. And there's another one over there. Yeah, so it is 7:05, and I'm just now on my way out.
Well, my friends, it certainly turned out to be a sign, but not the kind anyone would normally expect. He finally arrived at the forest and parked his vehicle before continuing on foot through the dense vegetation. After walking for a while, he reached a spot that was already familiar to him, a place where he had hunted before and knew deer activity tended to be high. Once in position, he climbed a tree with his bow in hand and remained completely still, waiting patiently as the forest came alive around him.
Okay, so I'm up in the stand. I shot a buck 2 years ago, right there. And I forgot my my bow hanger, so I'm just gonna be holding it, but
After a long period of silent waiting, a deer finally appeared, moving cautiously through the forest and gradually closing the distance between them. It was the moment he had been preparing for. He raised his bow and began to draw the string, ready to shoot. But almost immediately, something made him hesitate. Within seconds, he lowered the bow again, deciding not to release the arrow and allowing the animal to remain undisturbed. After nearly 5 minutes of silently watching the deer, frozen in an uncomfortable wait, he decided to draw the bow once more. However, this time everything suddenly went wrong. What had begun as a routine hunting moment quickly turned into a situation that put his life in danger.
Okay, yeah, you probably shouldn't. Just wait till I come back. You don't want to make anything worse.
oh fuck. Yeah, I was oh god. There was a really big doe in front of me. And I drew on her. And then she saw me. So we're in a stare down. And she started, I let my bow down because she was staring at me. And then she started walking away real slow. So I drew again. But as I drew back, my elbow hit the tree and knocked me off balance. And I tried grabbing onto a branch that was up in the tree right next to me, and it snapped as I grabbed onto it.
He was actually wearing a safety harness, but for some reason it came loose at the worst possible moment. The result was a hard fall from the tree, which looked extremely painful even through the footage. Honestly, he was incredibly lucky that there were no sharp branches or other hazards beneath him, because the outcome could have been much more severe, even fatal. After the accident, he was taken to the hospital, where doctors treated his injuries. Fortunately, he only suffered bruises and a torn ligament in his leg, which, considering the severity of the fall, was the best possible outcome he could hope for. He has now returned to posting videos and continues his journey, moving forward despite the experience. So let's show him some support. He is currently approaching 1,000 subscribers, and a bit of encouragement from viewers could mean a lot to him. Above all, this incident serves as a powerful reminder of how unpredictable life can be. You can repeat the same routine hundreds or even thousands of times, And still there is no guarantee of safety. Always use the proper equipment. Stay cautious and never take unnecessary risks. Safety should always come first. Next, we meet Tara, an experienced hiking enthusiast, who, 3 years ago, successfully completed the entire Appalachian Trail, a route renowned for its length, physical demands, and the mental endurance it requires from those who attempt it. What makes her story especially significant is that, for most of this journey, Tara spent her nights in shelters designed specifically for hikers, places where travelers share tight spaces with complete strangers. These are people whose backgrounds and intentions are unknown, and in certain situations, that uncertainty can become a very real source of danger. Drawing from her personal experiences, Tara later created a video in which she speaks candidly about what she encountered along the trail and the risks that can arise within these shelters, some of them genuinely unsettling. Now, let's take a closer look at what she revealed.
Walking up to a shelter, you never really know who's going to be staying in it or who's going to come up a little later. If you are a thru hiker, you do have a good idea based on who is hiking around you. Weekend warriors, Boy Scout groups, section hikers, or guys who are a little down on their luck, whose wife kicked them out of the house. That did happen. We did meet a guy who got kicked out of his house by his wife and was staying in a shelter. Those are some of the people that you're probably going to meet in a shelter as well. This means you will be sleeping among strangers, and in my opinion, that makes me feel very vulnerable. Before I committed to a shelter, I'd usually screen those that I didn't know. Obviously, I would do this in a non-weird or conspicuous way, just ask like a couple questions about their life and their plans of their hike or backpacking trip. And I know that everyone did this, but in their own way. So I know it's not weird. No one comment and say that's weird, because I don't think it is. I think it's safe. There was one time though that asking a couple questions helped us determine that we were not going to be staying in a shelter because the guy who was in there was mentally unstable. In 2019, James Jordan killed Ronald S. Sanchez Jr., otherwise known as Stronghold, at a campsite on the Appalachian Trail. Around 2 weeks prior to that incident, we did meet James Jordan at a shelter. I have a video explaining that entire situation, and I will link that above. Anyways, after spending 15 minutes of talking with Jordan, we found him to be very mentally unstable, and we did not want to stay in the shelter with him.
The story she shares is deeply unsettling, one of those that lingers in your mind long after you hear it. Above all, it highlights an important lesson. When your instincts tell you something isn't right, you need to listen and remove yourself from the situation immediately. Unfortunately, the man at the center of her story did not. He ignored the warning signs, chose not to question what was happening, and never walked away. The result was tragic. And while incidents this extreme are rare, shared shelters also carry other risks. Dangers that may seem less dramatic, but are still serious enough to threaten your safety or even force you to abandon the trail altogether. So let's keep going and see what else can happen out there.
During my thru hike, we got caught in a freezing rainstorm in the Smoky Mountains, and the conditions were getting really dangerous. Luckily, we found a shelter, and there was a couple people in there. By the end of the evening, we were pushing the limits of the shelter's capacity. When we left the shelter the next morning, we were fine, but as the following days progressed, one by one in our tramway, we were getting sick from a common hiker virus called Norovirus. Norovirus causes inflammation of the intestines and stomach, which results in vomiting and intense diarrhea. Typically, people get noro when having contact with an infected person, contaminated surface, or food and water. Most everyone in our tramway got norovirus.
Compared to the first story, this situation may seem less alarming at first glance, but it highlights an important reality. A virus can become a serious threat, especially when the immune system is already weakened by exhaustion and the harsh conditions of the trail. In situations like this, symptoms such as nausea and vomiting may actually be the mildest outcome possible. Fortunately, everyone involved eventually recovered and was able to continue and complete their journey. The advice Tara offers throughout her story makes it clear that she understands these risks firsthand. Her experience is genuine, and hikers can learn a great deal from what she shares. If you're curious to learn more of her insights, You can visit her channel to see more stories and practical tips. And since we're talking about hiking, let me ask you this. What's the most dangerous or unsettling experience you've had while hiking, or even just on a simple walk through the woods? Deep in the forest, a lone camper suddenly notices movement among the dense branches surrounding his campsite. The leaves shift. Something heavy brushes against the undergrowth, just enough to spark his curiosity and caution. With the camera already in hand, he makes a quick decision. Start recording, whether to document something extraordinary or simply to have evidence in case the situation turns dangerous. He doesn't hesitate. However, what the camera ends up capturing goes far beyond a simple disturbance in the woods. For a brief moment, the footage seems to reveal part of a huge primate-like head emerging from the foliage. At least, that's what it appears to be at first glance. On its own, the image might not seem especially alarming, except for one crucial detail. This encounter was filmed in the United States, where wild primates of this size are not believed to exist. So let's slow things down and take a closer look at exactly what appears in the recording. And once you've seen it, you can decide for yourself what the camera really captured.
I have no light source. All I have is this night vision camera that I'm trying out. And I just came from back in there, which this light source is not picking up very well. I thought it was going to be a lot better than that. I got back in there and I had to turn around because I couldn't see. I don't even have a flashlight. But as I was walking out, there was some commotion over here. So I came over here and it smells like a freaking dead animal. So I'm just scanning this tree line here to see if I can see anything. I haven't gotten any eye shine or anything. Whoa, the hell was that?
Of course, what we are seeing remains open to interpretation. The figure appears only for a fleeting moment, half hidden among the shifting shadows of the trees, leaving us with more questions than answers. All we can do is speculate about what was briefly revealed at that moment. Yet certain details seem undeniably real. The cameraman describes a strong, unfamiliar smell lingering in the air and the sudden tension in his voice as he realizes something is moving nearby, just out of sight. Then, without warning, the recording cuts off. There is no explanation, no clear ending, just silence. And sometimes it is that silence that makes the moment linger even longer. So, what do you think was watching from among the trees?